What is going on, people, and welcome back to another Team Lid TCG video. Today I want to talk about a deck I have been pretty excited to play for a couple of weeks now, and I have a chance to. I don't want to play it to death, but I've played it before at tournaments here and there, but like never as often as I wanted to. But from this point, I don't want to be playing it a lot actually. The deck I am talking about is the Branded Bestial deck. So the reason I like this deck so much is, well, first it's fusion, so that's already like plus points there. And I like the theming, the artwork is just like really cool, the whole theater, and then the lore behind, because I follow the lore of the Dogmatica and all that stuff. I followed it all the way through up until the most recent party entries, which are the branded monsters. So I've been following it through, and I like the story. I just really do. So being able to play an archetype with a story that I genuinely like is just like a huge plus. It's one of the decks that whose ceiling has been greatly increased by the bestial monsters, and as a result of that, it's actually worth playing. But don't get me wrong, this is nowhere near the best deck. That still easily goes to Ishizu tiers, because of course it does. When we're in a tier 0 format, there's not much you can expect from there. But in terms of just like other fusion decks or other decks that you could possibly play, this deck does a pretty admirable job, and it's helped by two things. Because the Ishizu tier 11 deck is like the top deck to beat, a lot of people are pretty much preparing for that, which also means in the specific format, hand traps are kind of bad, like pretty bad actually. And as a result, things like Ash, people don't really play those anymore, so it allows you to feel a lot safer when you're going to be playing cards like Branded Fusion and all of that. And another thing is that having the bestial monsters allows like new lines of play. You still have your MirageHobbies ending, because that is the best monster to end on. So you still have those stuff, but you have like a Rebellion with a Branded Beast, and it's just like really nice when an old deck you can still play the same cards, add a few things, and it just changes the entire play. Well, not the entire play, but it changes the outcome of your board. It makes it stronger, it makes it better. It feels nice when you pull off those combos and everything like that. But yeah, with that said, we can start with a deck profile. Alright, and here we are with the deck profile for the Branded Bestial deck. Like I said, the ceiling of this deck is raised because of the bestial cards that you play in this deck, and yeah, it's just a really fun deck to play if you enjoy fusions, if you enjoy some really cool artwork and some really powerful monsters. This is just a really good deck to play. So with that out of the way, let us get started. Right, so first things first, you are going to play 3 Alubas. This is the main starter of your deck. This is the card you want to see the most often, because it gets you all your plays, it gets you all the branded spells, traps that you will need at any given moment. This is the card that gets you there. The next card, I only play 2 Tragedies. Tragedy turns out is that it's not a card that you really want 3 of. You have pretty good access to it, whether you're using it as fusion material or you just draw it, or there's another card coming up later where you can just pitch it. But you don't really need 3 Tragedies. You can play 2, it's more than enough. But if you do want 3, you can make some changes in your deck, or you don't mind playing a higher deck count, you are more than welcome to, but I will still say that 2 is the perfect number for this card in this deck. The next card is that I play 2 Fallen of Albaz. You do not need 3 of this card. You do not need 3 of this card. If you draw it, you don't always want to draw it unless you're going second, because then it baits a negate, but you don't really want to draw this card at all. You prefer having your Albazes in your deck, so then you don't lose too much hand advantage. If you're playing your fusion spell, you don't need it. So 2 Albaz is more than enough. I don't think you need to play 3 at all. And then the one-offs, the one-off Despia cards are one Mercuria, one Ad Libitum, and one Albion the Shrouded Dragon. So the Mercuria, if you're able to keep it in your hand, it's a very nice monster negate. Then you can also banish it to search for the Albion, since it mentions Albion in its name. It's just a very nice one-off to have. It's never really bricky. Because you play one of it, you'll barely see it in your hand, and if you do, if you have cards like Allo, you can just banish it, and just like that, you've drawn 2 for free, and you've been able to add 1 card. Like, the hand advantage of this deck can get pretty insane. So, 1 Mercuria. The Ad Libitum is a very, very nice card to have because it allows you to make the most out of the value of the Mirage Aid or any other Despia fusion. If you just need an extra body to defend yourself or anything like that, the Ad Libitum is there to make sure that you're able to get yourself protected from anything else. And the Albion is just a very nice draw card. You can send the cards that you need to the grave, and you it allows you to draw a card. So you don't neg off this card. You just get your resources in rotation, and who doesn't like a free draw in the deck? But those are all of the quote-unquote Despia cards that are in this deck. You only need, I think it's probably about like 10 or so. Like, you don't need any more than that. Now for the new cards that have been introduced here. I played 2, the Bystial Branded. This card is fantastic, but you do not need to play 3. 2 is enough. A lot of the time, if it's in your hand, it turns into a Bystial, which is really good, but you don't need that search as often as you think. You mostly want it in the graveyard because you can make use of it from there. So 2 is enough because in the case 1 gets lost, you still have another one to go into. The way I tend to try and build my decks is that I can always make the same play exactly twice, and then from that point on I can just deviate. So having 2 Lubas allows me to make that play twice. So yeah, so Lubellian's effects are simple. You can pitch from your hand to search any bestial monster, and while it's in your hand or your grave, you can special summon it. It's not an effect, it's a summoning condition. You can special summon this card by attributing 1 Dark Dragon monster that's level 6 or higher. So 2 of these cards, genuinely amazing. And then for the Prince card of this format, 3 Bystial Magnamut. This card is insane. This card is absolutely amazing. So all the Bystials have one common effect besides Lubellian. They all have one effect in common. They can banish a light or dark from the graveyard, from either graveyard, yours or your opponent's, to summon themselves. And this becomes a quick effect if your opponent has a monster, which is pretty convenient seeing that Havness is in this format. This becomes a really, really nice card to have. Actually, all the Bystials become really nice. But what makes Magnamut special is that when it's summoned, you can activate the effect that during the end phase of the turn, you can add any dragon monster from your deck to your hand. And I cannot tell you how amazing that is, because it can get you another Bystial if you need one, if you want interruption again during your turn. Like it is, or you can just like grab an Albaz if you just want to beta negate, or just anything of the sort. Magnamut becomes the card that you can always use. And if you ever pitch Lubellian to search a Bystial, you will probably mostly be searching this card. So yeah, 3 Magnamuts. And then here I play 3 Draw Swarm. I know that people play 2, I prefer 3. It's a very good card. Same summoning condition, banish light or dark from either grave to summon it. Quick effect if your opponent has a monster. But Magnamut has a very nice effect where if it is sent to the graveyard from the field, it just sends another card to the grave. It just sends a special summon monster to the grave, your opponent's, I believe. But yeah, this card is really good. Obviously, when it comes to like tiers and all that stuff, this isn't the best effect to use, but any other deck, it's just free. It is such a free card. Just being able to use Poly with it while it's on the field, so then you'll get a monster and you'll be able to send another card. It's just a really, really nice like effect to have. I know that people do play 2, and there's no problem with that at all. You can play 2 or 3. I just prefer playing 3 because I tend to need it a lot more at my locals, but people can just choose if they want to play 2 or 3. And then the 2 off, I play 2 Cyradia. In a lot of decks, you only really ever need to play 1, but in a branded deck, in a branded Despia deck, 2 is pretty good because this card actually has use in this deck. It allows you to dump your branded spells or traps, which is really, really good because it means that if they ever have a graveyard effect or you can retrieve them from the grave, it allows you to have that set up. But you only need 2. This is the card that makes it feel a bit bricky if you play the maximum amount of them, so 2 is more than enough. And the last 3 monsters I use are 3 Edge Imp Chain. Yeah, this card pretty much needs no introduction. It was good before this new format, it is still good now. But in this deck, because I am playing 42 cards, the chance of bricking exists. So the Edge Imp Chain, well, the Fight for package basically allows me to ensure that the bricking doesn't happen as often and that I'll always have discard material or discard fodder. I'll always have that, and the fact that it's a dark monster makes it also easier in case I don't have another dark monster to fusion with. Edge Imp Chain allows me to use it as material, and it also searches for a Fight for Patchwork if it goes to the grave by any means. Now, onto the spells and traps. I play triple Branded Opening. Fantastic card. The idea that you discard for effect and not cost is so good. It triggers your tragedy, which is already a big plus because now it means that if you could play Branded Opening, pitch a tragedy, summon an Aluba, and then you could just chain block your Aluba with the tragedy to ensure that like cards like Gamma don't hit your Aluba, since you want that card to resolve really badly. And it has a second effect where it also protects your fusion monsters from destruction 1 time by banishing this card. And that if it doesn't activate, I just banish it to just save my monsters. It is a really good card. It is a card that you also want to see in your hand as often as possible. Next 3 cards I play are 3 Allure of Darkness. Just a really good draw spell in this deck. Being able to banish a dark monster is also pretty good in this deck because you could banish either a Mercuria or a Despia of Tragedy. Those are like really good cards to banish from your hand because they also help you get cards that you would need. So if you banish the Mercuria of Allure of Darkness, you just get a free Albion. If you banish Tragedy, you can get an Aluba or an Ad Libitum. It's just like a really nice enabler, and like drawing 2 will never be a bad thing in this game. Who doesn't like a pot of greed? Then the main card of our deck is Branded Fusion. Play 3 of those. Of course, you cannot play less in this deck. It is way too important. So yes, it's a fusion. You can fusion monsters that you can fusion summon monsters that list below of Albaz by using materials from your deck. Deck thins gets your cards in rotation. I cannot express how good this card is. So yeah, having 3 of these is always good. It's searchable, obviously. So just having this card is really good. It gets you. It is the meat and heart of your deck. So 3 branded fusions, and you will never go wrong with that. Then I play 2 Fight for Patchwork and 2 Polymerization. The reason I play 2 12 is that I don't often want to have a dead Patchwork. And why I play 3 Imp Chain is because I don't want to have a dead Patchwork. The first Imp Chain will usually be discarded to search said Patchwork, and then the Patchwork gets me to the poly. So it's just always good to have that rotation around, and I feel like this is the perfect number. 3 Imp Chain, 2 Patchwork, and 2 polys is just a really, really good number. And then the last few spells, these are the one-offs of the deck. 1 Branded Regained, 1 Branded in Red, and 1 Branded Lost. This is the most controversial one, not even controversial really, but it's not really a card that a lot of people play, but I will get to it just now. Branded Regained, very good card, came in with the Bystials. If a light or dark monster is banished, I can shuffle one of those monsters back and I get to draw 1 card, so it's instantly good just from that alone. It being a continuous spell is also pretty relevant, as you'll see with the upcoming cards. It's just a very good card, and if a monster is summoned, it just summons a Bystial from the graveyard, besides Bulela, of course, because Bulela has a summoning condition. But you can summon, if you have a Magnamut, a Serenir, or a Druosome in the grave, this just summons it back because your opponent dared to summon a monster, so it's very good. Branded in Red, it is a staple in this deck. You can never not play this card in a branded deck. Just easy access to fusions, mainly your Guardian Chimera, because that just becomes like a 3-pop 2-draw 1. So it's just a very good card. And if you don't want a fusion, you don't even have to. You can just add the card back to your hand if you need it for follow-up, if you know that your opponent can't do much after their turn. Then Branded Loss. This card, the reason why you only play one of it is because A, it is searchable. If you draw it, it is not a dead card. But making sure that your opponent cannot respond to any fusions is such a good effect, because it means that you're guaranteed that safety that okay, you can go through your entire combo line. So yeah, Branded Lost is a really good card, and the fact that when you fusion, it allows you to search for a card that mentions Albaz also, so it's just another plus from this, because you tend to draw a lot of cards from this deck when you use these spells, and when you use these spells correctly, you just get to add a lot of cards from your deck to your hand, which is really, really nice. And for the trap cards, I only play 3 traps, namely Branded Banishment, Branded Beast, and Branded Retribution. So, Banishment, kind of the same concept as Branded in Red, but this card, it summons a dragon. It summons a dragon fusion monster, level 8 fusion monster, or an Albaz, and it allows you to fusion summon from either field by banishing cards. This is good because it has a potential to remove all of your opponent's bodies to get you the monster that you would need in a particular situation, or just to make sure that just to try and clear your opponent's board. And that is a pretty good effect. But you also don't have to fusion summon. You can just summon your monster and let it go there. Branded Beast is a continuous trap that allows you to tribute a bestial monster to destroy 1 card on the field. This is a very good card because a really big problem that Despia had, because MirageHobbies is the boss monster, it only dealt with monsters. This card allows you to deal with spell and traps also at the cost of 1 bestial, which, trust me, with Branded Regained, that is not a cost at all. And at the end phase, it allows you to place a continuous spell or trap from the graveyard on top of your field. So what you normally do with this is that if you have Serenir in your hand, you try and get rid of Serenir by sending it to the grave, and then you would send a Branded Regained, and then you'd use Lubellion to place this card from the deck onto the field, and then at the end phase you'd activate this card's effect to place the Branded Regained from your graveyard to your field, and you're just pretty good there. Then you have advantage on your opponent's turn too. And then Branded Retribution. Mostly, this card is used to send to the grave because it allows you to recycle spent spells from your graveyard, and it puts them back into your hand. But every now and then it does come up when you actually just have to set this card and negate any form of special summoning, like that is summoned by using a spell, trap, or monster effect. But yeah, so this card is mainly just used to go to the grave. And yeah, so when it comes to the extra deck of this deck, you can it's pretty malleable. There are obviously a few monsters that you have to play, but in terms of other bodies, you pretty much in terms of your entire engine, it's 9 monsters, and then the others is just flick spots. Yeah, so first we played double Mirajade. A very good boss monster for the deck. Allows you to non-targeting banish by sending 1 card that mentions Full of Albaz, which is fantastic. Yeah, and if it leaves the field because of an opponent's card, it just becomes a Raigeki during the end phase. So there is not much to complain about now with this. But also, what also makes it good is that This card is once per turn per copy, which means that if it banishes, because like it has its effect to banish, you can't use it the next turn if you use it in the current turn. But if it leaves the field and somehow comes back, say by the effect of an ad libitum, it can just use the effect again. So this is a very good boss monster to have, as non-targeting banish in this current format is very good. Then the next card that I play is triple Albion the Branded Dragon. I know some people play 2, most play 3. I would suggest that you play 3 because this is a card that you run through pretty quickly. It is part of your mainline combo of this deck right now, and the fact that you use it so quickly and it has a really good gravy effect means that it is a deck that is absolutely worth using, a card that's absolutely worth having 3 of. So yeah, you play 3 Albion. It fusion summons upon when it summons itself. It fusion summons by banishing the materials, and it sets a spell or trap from the deck, a brand spell or trap from the deck, or just adds it to your hand depending on what you want. The next card I play is that I play 2 copies of Lubellion. This is a same effect as Albion in the sense that it fusion summons also upon summon, but this time it shuffles monsters back into the deck. This is the main way that you get Mirage out. It's a really good card. The fusion summon is a discard, which is pretty much like the cost for that fusion summon is just a discard, which is literally nothing. So yeah, this is just like a really nice card to have 2 of, because if one is effect failed, you still have another one to do the same play again. And the next card is Double Masquerade. Really nice card. If you're able to summon this without, like, while doing your mainline combo, without compromising that combo, this would be a very good card to summon, because 1, the life point loss forces your opponent to make sure that they try to deal with this card, which means that they put their sights off the main threats on your board. So this is a very, very good card to have. If you're able to summon 2, that's even better. It means that they have a very limited amount of effects to use to get rid of this card. So yes, definitely play 2 Masquerades. Yeah, you will not regret it. Oh yes, Masquerade, it also comes back if there's a fusion monster on the field. It is just a terrific card. Then the one of the most powerful monsters that is in this deck, Guardian Chimera, which you usually make by using Branded in Red. This card is insane. If you have Poly in the graveyard, it cannot be targeted. It either destroys 2 or you draw 2. It's such a good card, and its attack being that high is just genuinely amazing because it's able to go above a lot of monsters right now. So Guardian Chimera is a very nice card to have, especially if you have polymerization in the graveyard. Then the flex spots, I would say Despian Corides, the Starving Venom, Mud Dragon of the Swamp, the Garura, and the Dragostapelia. These are pretty much, if you're going to be using Branded Banishment, these are the cards that you're going to be summoning. The Starving Venom, if your opponent has 2 dark monsters, obviously, just a really good card. It also becomes out like if it's destroyed. The Mud Dragon, to get rid of any bodies that you don't want. If you can't usually summon Mirror Jade, this is the card, Dragostapelia is the card that you normally go after. Garura has been one of the best new TCG exclusive cards we've had in a while. It being a level 6 fusion monster is just great. The only issue with it is that it is not a winter monster, because if it was, Flanders would not be a problem anymore, but fortunately we can't have everything. So yeah, these are the main fusions. Corides' effect to just put everything to 0 comes up really well. Make sure that you can pretty much beat over any and everything that exists on that field. So it's a really good card to have. But yeah, that is the extra deck, and I hope you enjoyed this deck profile, guys, and I will be back with another one. I think I might do Sprite next time. So yeah, thanks for watching, and Now off to the combo or combos. Discards, it gets you to the exact same combo. So first things first, we will summon Aluba, and Aluba will grab us our Branded Fusion. We activate our Branded Fusion to send an Albaz and a Lubellion to the grave, and so we can summon the Albion from the extra deck. Then after that, we activate Albion's effect to banish the Albaz and the Aluba to summon the Lubellion. Then we activate Lubellion's effect to pitch our discard, to shuffle back Albaz and the Lubellion itself. Shuffle these two back to summon your Mirage. It's always good to summon them in defense position because Lightning Storm exists in this format. So yeah, to summon Mirage, and then you can fulfill the summoning condition of Lubellion, of the Bystial Lubellion, by attributing 1 level 6 or higher Dark Dragon monster to summon itself. And then you can activate its effect to place a branded continuous spell trap from the deck, which we will do just that, which will be Branded Beast. And then you can just end your turn here, and Albion will trigger, and you will choose to set the Branded Banishment. So just like that, 1 card in the discard. I believe that's called a 1.5 card combo. But yes, 1 card in the discard will get you a banish, destroy any card on the field, and a summon, because it can summon the Albion even if you don't have a full-on of Albaz or Despia, sorry. You can just summon the level 8 fusion monster from the grave to destroy to fusion summoned by banishing monsters from either side of the field, and that is just from an Aluba and a discard. So yeah, this is your bread and butter combo for this deck. So yeah, in terms of ideas for this deck, before I go, I actually just wanted to just like show like a few things that you might consider playing. It's mainly just 3 cards actually. If you feel that your deck is a little too bricky, or not bricky, but you can't find your cards consistently enough, I would suggest playing a Springen's Kit, a Foolish Burial, and a Gold Sarcophagus. This is just to make sure if you like to get the cards that you want a little more consistently, because this can send the Tragedy, this can banish the Mercuria, and this can add a Branded Fusion. It's just like if you feel that it's not getting you the consistency that you want. It doesn't happen often, but it does, and it can be quite annoying when that happens. So yeah, you can also opt to play these 3 cards, but you do have to amend the deck a little bit to try and fit it in, because I don't think this deck should go any higher than 43 cards. I'm playing it at 42 because I just do not want to go to that 43 mark. But yeah, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the videos, and I will catch you on the next one. Peace out.